For nearly 2,000 years, it sat in complete darkness. Hidden beneath layers of earth and stone, a sealed Roman chamber remained untouched while the world above changed beyond recognition. Empires rose and fell. Kingdoms appeared and vanished. Generations lived their entire lives without knowing that just beneath their feet rested a forgotten piece of the ancient world. There were no maps marking its location, no legends guiding explorers to it, and no records clearly revealing its existence. It simply waited in silence, preserving a story that had survived the collapse of one of history's greatest civilizations. Then, during a recent archaeological excavation in southern Italy, researchers uncovered something unusual. At first it looked like another buried structure, the kind archaeologists find regularly in regions once controlled by Rome. But as the excavation continued, the team realized this was different. The walls were unusually thick. The stonework was remarkably precise. Most importantly, there appeared to be no visible entrance. That discovery immediately sparked excitement. Ancient underground spaces are common. Completely sealed ones are not. The deeper archaeologists dug, the more mysterious the structure became. Massive stone blocks had been fitted together with extraordinary skill. Despite surviving nearly 2,000 years underground, much of the chamber remained intact. It looked less like a forgotten room and more like something intentionally protected. Weeks of careful excavation eventually revealed what researchers had hoped to find, a hidden doorway. But this wasn't a collapsed entrance. It wasn't damaged by time. It had been deliberately sealed. Someone in the Roman world had closed this chamber and never returned. That realization changed everything. Archaeologists understood they were standing before something incredibly rare. Most ancient sites have been disturbed over the centuries. Looters, construction projects, earthquakes, floods, and human activity often alter archaeological evidence. A sealed chamber offers something priceless, an untouched moment from the past. From that point forward, every step was taken with extreme caution. The team documented every stone, every layer of soil, and every detail surrounding the entrance. Once a sealed environment is opened, its original condition is gone forever. There would only be one chance to study this chamber exactly as it had remained for centuries. As preparations continued, historians began asking the obvious question: why had it stayed sealed for so long? One possible explanation came from the region's dramatic history. Southern Italy has witnessed earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, invasions, and political turmoil over the centuries. Some researchers believe the chamber may have been hidden during a crisis and later forgotten. Others point toward the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius, which buried entire Roman communities beneath volcanic ash in 79 AD. If the chamber had been sealed around that time, layers of debris could have erased all traces of its location. Over time, memories faded, maps disappeared, witnesses died, and eventually, knowledge of the vault vanished completely. Another theory is equally fascinating. The Roman Empire was not always stable. Civil wars, political rivalries, and economic uncertainty occasionally threatened wealthy families and local communities. During dangerous periods, important possessions were often hidden for protection. Could this chamber have served as a secure vault? A place where valuables, documents, and sacred objects were stored until safer times arrived? If so, something may have prevented the owners from ever returning. For nearly 2,000 years, the answer remained hidden behind stone. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Before anyone entered, researchers inserted specialized cameras through a small opening. The atmosphere at the site was tense. Archaeologists gathered around monitors as light entered the darkness for the first time in centuries. Dust drifted through the beam. Ancient walls slowly appeared. Then shapes emerged from the shadows. Containers, shelves, artifacts. The chamber was not empty. In fact, it appeared astonishingly well preserved. Objects remained where they had been placed centuries earlier. Nothing looked disturbed. Nothing suggested looting or later intrusion. It was as if time had frozen the moment the chamber was sealed. The first major discoveries came from a series of containers carefully arranged within the room. Inside were collections of Roman coins. At first glance, that may not sound extraordinary. Roman coins are discovered regularly throughout Europe and the Mediterranean. But context is everything in archaeology. These coins had remained together in their original environment for nearly 2,000 years. They offered a perfectly preserved snapshot of a specific moment in Roman history. Coins reveal far more than monetary value. They carry images of emperors, political messages, religious symbolism, historical events. Each coin acts like a miniature document from the ancient world. Researchers immediately recognized their importance. As excavation continued, more treasures emerged. Beautiful jewelry crafted from gold and decorated with precious stones lay preserved beneath centuries of dust. Rings, necklaces, and ornamental pieces reflected the remarkable skill of Roman artisans. These were not ordinary possessions. Their quality suggested ownership by individuals of considerable wealth and influence. Every object told part of a story. Who wore these items? Why were they placed inside the chamber? And why were they never retrieved? Those questions quickly became central to the investigation. Yet the discovery that generated the greatest excitement among historians was neither gold nor gemstones. It was writing. Among the artifacts were fragments of written materials and records that appeared to have survived the passage of time. For archaeologists, few discoveries are more valuable. Gold reveals wealth. Architecture reveals engineering. But writing reveals people. Documents preserve names, transactions, decisions, beliefs, and personal experiences. They allow historians to hear voices from the past rather than simply study objects left behind. Special conservation teams immediately began examining the materials. Every fragment required careful handling. Even a small piece of text could contain information capable of transforming historical understanding. Although detailed analysis remains ongoing, the presence of written records alone elevated the importance of the discovery. The chamber appeared to contain far more than treasure. It contained information. And information is what changes history. As researchers cataloged the contents, another fascinating detail emerged. The collection was unusually diverse. Alongside coins and jewelry were decorative vessels, household items, religious objects, imported goods, and administrative tools. This wasn't simply a treasure hoard. It looked intentional. Carefully assembled, almost as though someone had selected objects representing different aspects of Roman life before sealing them away. That possibility adds a deeply human dimension to the story. Imagine living in the Roman world during a period of uncertainty. Perhaps conflict was approaching. Perhaps a natural disaster threatened the region. Perhaps political instability created fear about the future. If you knew you might lose everything, what would you choose to save? What objects would represent your life? Your family? Your culture? The contents of the chamber suggest someone faced those questions nearly 2,000 years ago, and their choices survived. As news of the discovery spread, historians around the world reacted with excitement. Universities, museums, and research institutions began following developments closely. Many experts emphasized that the true significance of the find lies not in its monetary value but in its historical context. Modern archaeology is less concerned with treasure than with understanding the people who lived in the past. A sealed chamber provides something exceptionally rare: certainty. Researchers know the objects remained exactly where they were placed. That allows stronger conclusions and more reliable interpretations than many other archaeological sites can provide. Several historians describe the discovery as one of the most promising Roman finds in recent years, not because it contains gold, but because it contains answers, or at least the possibility of answers. History is built from evidence, and every artifact recovered from the chamber adds another piece to the puzzle. Perhaps the most intriguing question is whether the discovery could change our understanding of Roman history itself. The phrase "writing history" is often overused, but new evidence genuinely has the power to challenge old assumptions. A single document can reveal unknown events. A single inscription can alter timelines. A single discovery can force historians to reconsider decades of scholarship. The materials recovered from the chamber may offer new insights into trade networks, social structures, local politics, religious practices, or economic activity. Researchers are still analyzing the evidence, and it may take years before the full significance becomes clear. But that uncertainty is exactly what makes archaeology so exciting. Every discovery begins with questions. Who built this chamber? Who sealed it? Why were these objects chosen? What event prevented their return? Those mysteries continue to drive research today. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of the discovery, however, is not what it reveals about Rome. It is what it reveals about people. The individuals who placed those objects inside the chamber could never have imagined modern archaeologists finding them. They could never have imagined cameras, laboratories, or millions of people hearing their story across the internet. Yet somehow, their message survived. Across 20 centuries. Across the fall of an empire. Across wars, disasters, and the passage of time, the chamber remained sealed, the artifacts remained protected, and the story remained waiting. Now, after nearly 2,000 years of silence, that story is finally being told. Researchers will spend years studying the objects recovered from the vault. New discoveries will continue to emerge. Old assumptions may be challenged. Fresh questions will undoubtedly arise. But one thing is already clear. This is more than a collection of ancient artifacts. It is a direct connection to human lives that existed long before our own. People who hoped, people who feared, people who planned for the future. And against all odds, a piece of their world survived. For nearly 2,000 years, the chamber waited in darkness. Now its secrets are finally coming to light. And its story may be only just beginning.